Traitor in court. Good afternoon, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching. The former leader of Sinn Féin, Gerry Adams, is in court this week. There's a civil case happening in London regarding his involvement in the IRA in the 1980s and the 1990s. A lot of people on the mainland know we were always told that Gerry Adams was the leader of the IRA. This is common knowledge, this is something that we've always been told, and we always knew. Now, Sinn Féin was always the political wing of the IRA, and they go hand in hand. A lot of people, when the Belfast, the Good Friday Agreement was signed in 1998, are of the opinion that the British state, the British government, gave away far, far too much to pursue peace with the terrorists in the IRA, and I'm one of them. I was in Warrington in 1993, I think it was, when a bomb went off, and I have family in the area as well. This is long overdue, the fact that he's being taken to court, and it's only a civil case, and it's a symbolic case, but it's long overdue, in my opinion. At the moment, the peace deal, if you can call it that, has terrorists running the devolved assembly in Northern Ireland, and that doesn't sit well with me. We're going to get on with the information from the case, as I say. The first thing I want to say with a civil case, if you have a civil case brought against you, the onus is on you to disprove the link, or to disprove the accusation, so it's the opposite of the burden of proof that you'd get in a criminal prosecution. And much information's already come out this week. I think Adams, the scumbag himself, isn't actually going to be testifying until next week. We have reports like this from BBC in Northern Ireland. A former British Army colonel, who was an intelligence officer during the Troubles, alleged Gerry Adams was on the IRA Army Council when it was sanctioning bomb attacks on the mainland. We're going to get into one of the publications, one of the articles about this that has occurred this week. So, a former Northern Ireland police officer who worked in intelligence said that Gerry Adams was a very formidable opponent as the IRA's de facto leader. No shit, he was the leader. That's just my view. It's not been proven, but it's my view. Witness B has been giving evidence against the former Sinn Féin leader in the High Court in London. Adams, 77, is being sued by John Clark and Jonathan Nash and Barry Laycock, who were injured in IRA bombings in London and Manchester in 73 and 96. Adams strenuously denies any involvement and has consistently rejected claims he was ever in the IRA. No, he was in the political wing, Sinn Féin. Alright? Two are not separate, they are linked, and they are very clearly linked. A former Northern... gone through that one. Next one. Asked why he was not arrested, he replied, he would not answer any questions, so it would have been the purpose of arresting him. Witness B described him as a very formidable opponent and a strategic thinker. He said that the London Docklands bomb in February 1996 ended with the first IRA ceasefire. It was a great shock. Although the RUC felt that the ceasefire would break, the bombing took us all by surprise. In his witness statement, he said, much of the intelligence I had led me to conclude that the defendant, Adams, was undoubtedly a member of the Army Council for the period from the 80s to the 90s. All the intelligence I saw pointed to his membership and leadership within the IRA. Oh shit, of course. Let's just have a look now. Although the RUC felt the ceasefire would break, it took us all by surprise. Let's have a look now. Membership of the IRA. It went on. It is my certain knowledge, based on the materials that I had access to at the time, that the bomb in Canary Wharf on February 9th, 1996 was not simply sanctioned by the Council, but it was ordered by the Army Council. It is inconceivable that such an action would have been carried out without its explicit orders. The defendant was at the time very much among equals of the Army Council of the IRA. Finally, it says here, Witness B's statement added if Adams was not the most important member of the IRA, he pulled off a remarkable coup, as the British, Irish and US governments all believed otherwise. Why was he so instrumental in the Good Friday Agreement in 1998? He adds, if he's not a senior figure in the IRA, why was he needed for anything regarding the Good Friday Agreement? That's the thing. If it was to maintain a sustainable ceasefire, why was amnesty given to all the IRA and all the Sinn Féin members if there was no link? This is what we gave away for peace in Northern Ireland. Basically, the British government signed its soul with the devil, sold out Northern Ireland, and basically gave all of the people that were murdering people on the mainland a free pass. Essentially, they took the Republic of Ireland side, which I think is despicable. If the civil case, which has a much lower burden of proof, you only have to prove it on balance of probability instead of beyond reasonable doubt, it's a measure of justice, if nothing else, in my particular view. I think the people running Stormont, Sinn Féin, currently should be in prison. If you're from Northern Ireland, you may disagree, you may agree. If you're from the Republic, you may think that I'm just a English colonial. Nothing could be further from the truth. These terrorists are scumbags, they put innocent lives at risk, and they all need to be in prison. Now, if you like this video, and you agree with what I'm saying, make me aware. Do you think this civil court case is going to be successful? Comment, like and subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.